we've got a couple of weeks remaining in this transfer window, and the possibility of Savinho leaving Man City to join Tottenham Hotspur still remains on the table for now. City do not want to sell Savinho, but it's thought that they would sort of entertain offers around the £70 million mark. Savinho is said to be open to joining Spurs, who was left out of the City's win in the Premier League against Wolves at the weekend. And Guardiola said that was due to injury, although, you can make what you want from that, I guess. It's been suggested that as well, if City are to sell Savinho, they might target one of his Brazil international teammates in the form of Real Madrid attacker Rodrygo, who has been tipped to leave the Spanish Giants throughout this summer, has been linked with Premier League clubs. The likes of Liverpool and Arsenal have also been linked, but Guardiola said to be a big fan of the 24-year-old, and Man City is said to have internally identified him as sort of the main man to replace Savinho if he is to leave.
Yeah.
So, Stephen, what are your thoughts on these two sort of high-profile, big money deals that could take place this summer? Would you accept sort of City letting Savinho go to Spurs and City bringing in Rodrigo as his replacement? Do you think it would be an upgrade
Um,
on Savinho?
if Savinho wants to go, I think City won't stand in his way. There's obviously something there to this. It's obviously him pushing a little bit. And I am a firm believer in the whole idea that if a player isn't fully committed, and not well, I guess they're not fully committed. I mean, that's a harsh conclusion. It sounds harsh, but it's true. If their heads out out the door and they're thinking about Spurs, then it implies they're not happy with something at Manchester City. And when you try and complete or at least put into place a rebuild of the magnitude that City are overseeing and Guardiola's overseeing, you can't have anyone who's there for the ride, essentially. And the implication is that he doesn't know where he stands in terms of the first team. Guardiola very pointedly spoke about him at the weekend in the way that he spoke about Alvarez when before he left. He talks about the number. He said he's had a lot of minutes, which is his way of saying, I think indirectly, and I'm just guessing here, but he's obviously been told, "Oh, Savinho wants to go because he's not sure if he's going to play a lot," and Pep's probably just gone right, okay. And he said that publicly, Guardiola, about minutes because he played an awful lot of football last season. Guardiola clearly rates Savinho. Now I know Oscar Bob's back, and I know the tactics might change a little bit, but there's nothing to suggest that Guardiola doesn't rate Savinho. He's played him an awful lot in pre-season as well, so and the Club World Cup. So I think Guardiola, he sounded a little bit frustrated in my opinion in the press conference, saying he's injured when we all know he isn't. Yeah, I think he's a little bit disappointed, but at the same time, I think the positive is that you're going to have players who want to be there. Savinho, I really like him. I think he's set to be a fantastic player. He's only really a goal return and a little bit of finessing away from being a truly elite winger. But City are going to get what 65 million from him as it sounds right now. It sounds like we're edging closer to the fee that City find acceptable, which is borderline 70 million pounds. That's an awful lot of money for a player who doesn't want to be here. And then on the flip side, if you bring in Rodrigo, like that is proven established quality at the highest level. Um, he's a very least Savinho's quality, even probably not better. So Rodrigo, like I would rather have Savinho because he's a young talent that's going in the right direction, and he's got so much potential. And he's already shown he could mix it in the Premier League. But Rodrigo is a Champions League winner who's devastated City multiple times on his own, and I think he scored more goals against City than Savinho scored for City. So it's one of those things where if we lose Savinho and if we lose a 21-year-old Brazilian brilliant winger and bring in a 24-year-old Brazilian established elite level Champions League winner, then it's not really the worst thing in the world. Now, of course, it's a positional thing. Savinho can play on the right, and Rodrigo prefers to play on the left, but he can play on the right. So it's not like he's fully short in a crisis there. It's not like Rodrigo would refuse to play on the right if City needed him. And it does sort of mess up the balance of the squad a little bit because Doku, Marmoush occupy a very similar space to Rodrigo. But he's still Rodrigo, and it's very much, well, you fix that, Guardiola. It's your problem. He's a player of immense quality that will, of course, um, suit the game that City are currently playing, this high intensity, high pressure, dynamic one that we saw against Wolves. So, look, if Savinho goes, gutted, but Rodrigo is like, it's win-win already for City. We keep a great young talent, or we get one of the best wingers in world football. And so I can't sit here and complain. And I'm much more of a fan of break-in talents as opposed to established ones. But Rodrigo is a special footballer. If he's at City, he's going to do really well.
Yeah, I mean he's already built up a lot of experience, like you said, and he doesn't even turn 25 until January of next year. He's a three-time La Liga winner, two-time Champions League winner, over 30 caps for Brazil, close to 300 appearances for Real Madrid as well across I think 6 years. So he's really built up a lot of experience at that highest level. already, and he's such a young career already. And he's sort of now that the Real Madrid have got Mbappe and Vinicius Junior and Jude Bellingham as well, he's sort of not necessarily the star name, but he probably would be attracted to joining maybe City, where he could become more of a star, do you think, and develop his game even more under one of the best managers in the world in Guardiola. Is that what you think?
Yeah, absolutely. The suggestions are that Rodrigo likes the idea of playing with Guardiola. Yeah, he would suit his football. When you watch Rodrigo, not only is he an incredibly smart technical player, he's a busy player. You know, he's bustling around. He loves to take touches and very much reminiscent of what you see from Oscar Bob in terms of knowing when to pass the ball and knowing when to sort of drive at people. There's a real busyness and liveliness to his game as well as being incredibly aggressive attacking and he likes to sort of basically that role that Guardiola has when he's got the overlapping fullbacks, the interior role where the sort of wing is dipping inwards and sort of playing as sort of slightly inverted playmakers. That suits Rodrigo down to an absolute T, and he will suit a Guardiola style more probably than Real Madrid, I would argue, what he's had over and under Ancelotti. Yeah, he's highly technical, a really creative footballer, very good in all the tight spaces that City sides usually come up against. And I think Guardiola's going to absolutely love him if he gets him. I think he might even give a hard time for Doku and Marmoush, unfortunately, as good as they are. I think he's going to be the perfect sort of tucked in winger with eight Nori overlapping. And I think he'll be a bit of a revelation in the City shirt. To be honest, I think we'll see the quality. Maybe he dipped a little bit last season because he wasn't playing as much, and in the new era of Galacticos or Real Madrid, I saw that his XG was down because the chances created for him were a lot poorer, so he's scoring less. The minutes weren't quite as high, but I suspect we'll see. The Rodrigo 2 or 3 years ago when he was absolutely decisive in the Champions League and for Real Madrid in general. And I think he'll suit City, and I think he knows that Guardiola's football will be set up to get him a lot of touches in the right places, and the movement around him will be really good, and he'll get a lot of chances in my opinion, the best league in the world, and paid handsomely for it, and win an awful lot of trophies. So yeah, I can imagine he's absolutely tempted by life at Manchester City because it's as good as it's a safe bet to win stuff under Guardiola. And 2 years left, guaranteed with Guardiola. Yeah, I think it'd be a great move for Rodrigo, and I think he probably trusts himself to get in the team as well. As I said, there's been an imbalance in terms of right and left-sided options, but I think he knows he'll probably get in the team on the left wing because he is better probably than Marmoush and Doku in terms of current ability and readiness. Some people would disagree with that, but yeah, I think he's proven it at the highest level, and we know just how good he could be in the right setup. So, yeah, I think he will be very much tempted by what Guardiola has to say, and Guardiola clearly loves him. And if Guardiola really wants you, then that's a massive, massive boost of confidence for you.